All right, y'all, what's up? This is Andrew from Mirror Music 99 coming back to you with another hip hop reaction for your Thursday afternoon. Um, I'm kind of embarrassed, actually, in this context. I've heard people talk about Nas's Rewind for years and years and years and years. And I know I've listened to Stillmatic before, and I guess I haven't paid that much attention to it. I know it's an iconic song. I know about it. I know it's an iconic song. Um, and I know the literary devices that he uses in it from the reporting that I've heard about it are epic. I mean, I know he's telling a story backwards. Like, I understand the conceit of the song, but I've never really listened to it closely, and I've never really, like, thought about breaking it down. So, anyway, we're going to do Nas's Rewind from Stillmatic. Um, this is kind of in honor of the Stillmatic anniversary. I read that was released on December 18th, 2001, I think. But December 18th. So we're just celebrating Nas. Obviously, this is maybe not an exclusively Nas celebration channel. I mean, we're trying to celebrate all kinds of music, but he definitely has a special place in this channel's heart for sure. So anyway, this is Rewind. We'll see what we make of it. Oh, I love that bass one.
Listen up, gangsters and honeys with your hair done. Pull up a chair, hun, and put it in the air, son. Dog, whatever they call you, God, just listen. I spit it.
Whoa. So when I glanced at the lyric before I did this, I only saw like the opening of it, like the that little part before he like really gets into the verses, and obviously he's reversing dog and God, um, in that line too. So I suspect there will be lots of other reversals like that. Um, he does honey and hun too, which is not really a reversal, but um, it's still one of those things. So I fully also expect this to be something that I don't catch everything or even catch, a third of it the first time. So bear with me. This is, again, I'm doing this the first really paying attention to it time through. Um, I don't want to say I've never heard this before, but I've never really paid attention to it closely, and I don't have lyrics pulled up either. So
This story backwards, it starts at the ending. The bullet goes back in the gun. The bullet holes closing his chest of a nigga. Now he back to square one.
so it
Screaming,
starts
shoot,
with somebody
don't
getting
please.
shot.
I put my fifth back on my hip. It's like a VCR rewinding a hit. He put his hands back on his bitch. My caravan doors open up. I jump back in the van and close it shut. Go in reverse. Slowly prepare. My nigga Jungle utters out something crazy like go he there. Sitting back in his chair. We hit it.
He said a line, "Go he there." So there he go would be the reverse of that, which would be, you know, so the story we have so far is somebody gets shot, a guy jumps out of the van and shoots a guy, right? I mean that's the basic story we have so far. I mean going the other way.
In the roach, the smoke
Go he
goes back
there.
in the blunt gets bigger and growth. Jungle unrolls it, put his weed back in the jar. The
Okay,
blunt
he's using the word jungle a bunch of times too. I'm gonna have to. You guys tell me a little bit more about that. I mean, I know jungle is used for like the neighborhood, but also it's used for like weed too. So I mean, you have that green. I mean, he's working a metaphor on multiple levels, even in the part that's not really going backwards. Oh, man, this is made more difficult by the fact, not that just that he's going backwards, but also that is going pretty quickly too. Like the rhymes are going quickly.
The blunt gets bigger and
Blunt
growth.
gets bigger.
Jungle unrolls it, put his weed back in the jar. The blunt turns back into a cigar. We listen to Stevie. It sounded like heavy metal fans spinning records backwards of AC/DC. I get my niggas dap, jump out the van back first, back upstairs, took off the black shirt. I'm in the crib with the phone in my ear. Listen up so y'all can figure out the poem real clear. The voice.
So one would assume now, just like I tell people when we're analyzing poems in class or whatever, you have to be able to tell like the literal storyline of the poem. So we've gone backwards now up the stairs back into the apartment. So he's got the phone to his ear. One would assume he's about to hear whatever it is that sets off this chain of events, right? Like whatever he's being told or is about to be told or was just told. I guess in the song was just about to be told. Um, is whatever sets this in motion.
On the phone was like outside right we. So with my mouth wide holding my
Outside, right? That's we're right. Oh, so they're outside. So something has happened before that, and so somebody's pulled up and has called them to say that we're outside.
I heat bullets, I had plenty to squeeze, plenty for ya. Cause Jungle said block your own enemies up. Hung up the phone, then the phone.
Block your own enemies. The enemies. That's. I'll have to go back and look at that. Listen to that again.
Said block your own enemies up.
The enemies on your block. Is that what he's saying?
Hung up the phone, then the phone rang. I'm laid in the bed thinking about this pretty young thing who left. She came back.
That's a pretty young thing too. I mean, not to. I'm really trying hard not to pause this every 10 seconds or every 3 seconds. But so you have. I mean, the PYT. I mean, it's a Michael Jackson reference too. Obviously, he's already name dropped Stevie and AC/DC earlier too. But so he's referencing Mike. But I mean, obviously, this was 20 years before the the pretty young thing from. He didn't call it pretty young thing. Pretty young girl from Magic 3. Is that what it's called? There's one where he's like trying to find this girl that he saw, I think, in New Orleans or something. So I mean, obviously, that comes after this one, which kind of fits with his rewind theme too, actually. But po- as a postscript, anyway. Anyway,
Her clothes just fell to the rug. She fell to my bed and gave me a hug. I told her no hell. She talk about me kiss.
hell no.
Bobbed her head, then spit a nut back in my dick. Started sucking with no hands, a whole lot of spit. Then got up and put a bra back on her tits. Got fully dressed and told me stress really I'm. Picked up a Gucci bag and left a nigga behind. Walking through the door.
That's one of my favorite parts of the song so far is that he has the absolute balls not just to tell the story backwards, but also put everything that is being said out loud in reverse too. That's fucking nuts.
She rang the bell twice. I vomited vodka back in my glass with juice and ice. The clock went back from 3 to 2 to 1, and that's about the time the story begun. That's when I first heard the voicemail on the cell. It said, son, we found that nigga, we got a kid.
Hey, yo, son, you hear me? You hear me? Listen, man, this dude right on the block right now, man. I found him right now.
And now it's going
right
forward
now.
again.
Let's kill him.
Yo, this Nas, leave it. Peace.
Okay, a couple other things that I'm noticing too. That beat, I don't think it's PYT like the original one, Michael Jackson's, but it doesn't sound super distant from that. That boom boom, like that kind of beat, um, and the little kind of synth riff with it or whatever sounds very like a Michael Jackson Thriller era song. So he's not using it, I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but that's what it sounds like to me anyway. Um, so the story itself, right? Um, they're chasing a guy who's done something on the block, and he has sex with his girl, um, goes downstairs, gets in the van, they go shoot the guy, right? I mean that's the very basic story. I have that basically right, um, which is a not uncommon kind of trope in hip hop music, that I've seen anyway. I'm not saying it's super common in life, but that kind of story is not an uncommon kind of story. What's uncommon about it is how it's being told, right? And the way it's being told is masterful. Um, there's a lot going on. Obviously, like I've said before, there's a lot that I'm missing, I'm sure, for like rhyme schemes and as far as like um, the metaphors that he's using and that kind of thing. I'm sure I'm missing a lot. But the way it's being told is is super important. I think like if I were talking about this as a teacher and talking about this as like we're studying this as a poem, um, we would we would say that the speaker of the poem sort of regrets his actions in here, and regrets what's happened. Um, and we get that from him telling the story backwards, like wishing everything could go away, wishing everything could be pulled back, wishing everything didn't happen the way it did, right? I mean, doesn't that make sense? Like, if you're telling the story moving forward, it's hard to show regret in the same kind of way as in like pulling it backwards. Because pulling it backwards gives you not only an explanation for how it went down, but also a sort of literary twist on not an apology is not the word, but on um, regret, a sense of regret. So, and you get that sense of regret. I mean, I do anyway, from the way the story has been told, the fact that they're pulling it backwards, and what. So, anyway, it's a really fucking cool song. Like, again, it's not something that I know that I got all of. I know that. So you guys can help me fill in the gaps a little bit. But obviously, Nas is a virtuoso, and shout out to him for a song that he did 20 something years ago. Anyway, take care, y'all. See you next time.